That's 1-888-749-4455. Call now, 888-749-4455.
And welcome back to Slow Living Radio right here on CRN Digital Talk Coast to Coast. I'm Steve Andrews.
I'm Sally James.
And we're celebrating a first-year anniversary here on special of CRN
Happy
Digital Talk
That's
Coast
my
to Coast.
favorite bumper you're
Is it
playing.
really?
Right? It is my favorite.
Is it really? You like that one?
I used to play the violin. That's another secret no one knows.
Oh, well, there you go. Folks, if you just...
Really? Me too.
Really?
Yes.
I can do that whole violin
I have that secret right here. And if you're just joining us, our guest tonight is his CRN founder and president, Michael J. Horn. Michael, tell us about your violin days. Well, now we're really getting slow and appreciative.
I was in grade school and junior high, and I was a first chair violin.
First chair?
There was a lovely lady named Christy Pease, and we were both first chair violins, and we would argue always who would sit on the outside because everybody could see you. At least if you had the next person in, no one could see you. But if you're out there, the audience is looking at you while you were playing the violin. And I was in the Sunland School Orchestra.
Sunland School Orchestra.
Yeah, world renowned at that time.
Yeah, and that's what was certainly a boost to the career, I would say.
It was so huge. Just
you must
huge.
have pretty well engulfed that violin because you're quite a tall fella.
Well, yeah. I mean, it was okay. I mean, you know, I don't know if I engulfed it. I used to hold it under the chin, you know. But it was,
I don't know if any engulfing going on
I can see
here.
you more on a double bass. That'd look really cool.
Or a banjo, maybe. Over the years, probably I've gone more banjo-y, you think?
Could have, yeah, especially with the country music influence, Mike.
Guitar, possibly.
I think that's good. No, I think that's a good thing. Yeah. Well, so tell us. There you are doing these country music interviews.
But the world famous Palomino and those Clint Eastwood movies. Remember with Clyde the orangutan?
Absolutely, I was going to say.
And Tiny was there, the bouncer, and he let me in. And Tommy and Billy Thomas were the brothers that owned it, and they were very, very nice, both of them. And they let me in the back room because they knew I was doing a college show, which was broadcast in the entire San Fernando Valley, and on 88.5 FM, KCSN. And so I would do these interviews, and I'd come back to the studio and chop them up. And I had, we got Johnny Cash. I got Buck Owens was one of the big ones, and he was at the world famous Coconut Grove. I said, I'm old because the Coconut Grove was still around. And Buck Owens played there, and I loved Buck Owens.
Buck Owens.
And I went there.
From Hee Haw fame is for a lot of our listeners, if they don't remember that. You remember that, even in Australia.
Remember that the Beatles tune Act Naturally? It was actually Buck Owens wrote the song, and that was his tune first. And so they put him in the movies, and Buck Owens performed, and I went there with a date to the Coconut Grove with my buddy Buck Buchanan, who was the son of Edgar Buchanan, Uncle Joe from Petticoat
Junction. Yeah.
And so we got to interview Edgar Buchanan, another great guy. And so Buck went there and set up a promo spot at the Coconut Grove, but I didn't know what that was. And I went there and started looking at the menu and saw the prices and started thinking how much cash I had in my college pocket. And I always blessed this lovely date that I had because I said, well, I'm not too hungry. I think I'm just going to get the shrimp cocktail. And she goes, I'm not too hungry either. That's what I'm going to get. And then later on, I found out the record company picked up everything I could eat.
You could have had the steak, the surf and turf.
Tomas, if he was there, would have told me that, but I did not know at the time. I was kind of like
we didn't have Tomas there as your offsider to take care of you, so
exactly,
it happens. Yeah, the Coconut Grove.
Yeah, so we did all that, and I started hanging out at a country radio station in Southern California called KBBQ, K Barbecue. And it later became K-Rock. K-Rock, famous station in L.A., started out as an AM station. And when it was switching over from country to K-Rock, and it took a year and a half or so, Corky Mayberry, who I used to hang out and watch him spin music, was offered, became program director and said, I'm going to be program director and you're going to work for me. I remember him telling me that, and my world stopped, and everything slow living down, and I was like, I'm going to be on the radio, AM 1500. And so I got a weekend show at KBBQ Radio.
Was that his Country Mike?
Yeah, it's Country Mike. I started the Country Mike Club, and Jimmy Rabbit, who was on KMET, left there and always loved, his real name was Dale Payne, and he stayed with the name Jimmy Rabbit, but he loved country music, so he started doing a shift on the weekends also, and he would be promoting. He was on before me. The great Jimmy Rabbit promoted my show. And he'd be saying things like, coming up at 3 o'clock today, the campus radical Michael Horn will be here playing his music for you. And I was like, far from a campus radical if I wasn't even getting the comp dinner at the Coconut Grove. That was great through Jimmy Rabbit. And so that happened, and I did weekends, and then later started doing the all-night show. and played
How was
music. And record artists would come by, like Donna Fargo. Remember the happiest girl in the whole USA?
Of course.
She came by, and I was always told that you don't let anybody in because there could be weird people. And the red light came on, and someone was at the door, and I looked, and there were 2 women out there. And I thought, uh-oh, these are terrible women. They're going to come and maybe have their way with me. And little did I realize it was like 60-year-old Dottie Vance from Dot Records and lovely school teacher Donna Fargo. And they came in, and we had them on the air and had a good time.
So
No
all night.
kidding.
Now,
Yeah.
what do you call all night? You were really going all through the
I
night?
was on from midnight till 6.
And then you had to go to college the next day?
Yeah.
Crikey.
Then he had to try and
And one morning, the morning guy didn't show up, so I just said, hey, I'm going to do the show. And all my friends are saying, you're doing mornings. It's great.
it's double shifter.
Yeah. And then the program director called up and was very upset that I didn't call him. And he said, you're going to stay here the whole shift. And I thought, it's great. I put my tapes up and started doing air checks that I was the morning man.
And you managed to keep up your grades?
Oh, sure. I dozed off a few times. My
Well,
bad
this is-
sleep habits started then.
This is a multi-talented guy. I mean, come on.
I'm
Let's get it.
impressed.
I can
And we're-
doze
we're
anywhere.
impressed.
And we'll hold that thought because we'll be back with more Slow Living Radio right here on CRN Digital Talk Coast to Coast.